Hello, everybody, and welcome to the May 31st edition of the Saving Progress podcast. I am your host, Northernlion, here as always with my esteemed co-host, Michael A.L. Fox.
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
So people might be pretty confused when I say as always, because this is actually, technically the first edition of the podcast that we have done, but this is something that we're hoping is going to be a regular feature, like a weekly feature, of us basically just shooting the shit, talking about this week in video games and how it relates to us and, the people who kind of share the same interests as us. And of course, we're going to be bringing on other special guests, Reed, aka friends of ours in the future.
Yes, and as well, just the past few days, I've been making my triumphant return to YouTube, and a lot of people have been kind of happy to see you and I working together on some stuff. So this is kind of like taking that relationship a little further, making it official, I guess like a Facebook, oh, Ryan is going out with Michael now kind of thing. Just, just...
It's complicated.
It's complicated, yeah. We'll leave it at that anyway. So you can at least expect us weekly. We're going to have shooting the shit and all that kind of mumbo-jumbo. So I'm excited. Are you excited?
Yeah, exactly. People might be wondering why it's called the Saving Progress podcast. You want to shed some light on that without going, I guess, too deep into the mythology behind it?
I can. Long story short, we've been involved in video game ventures for the past few years, Ryan and I and several other friends, and we've kind of come to love the Saving Progress name and whatnot. So it's kind of just a go-to thing for our video game collaborations and stuff like that. So in the coming months, years, decades, and stuff, you're going to see, I guess, Saving Progress maybe grow a little bit. And, so keep an eye on that, I guess.
I think basically this all comes out of the fact that somehow you are, one of the luckiest assholes on Earth and own, was it savingprogress.com?
Yes, it is.
That's an esteemed domain name.
It's currently under construction. And, yeah, I actually remember the time when we were all trying to figure out a name for it, and our good friend Mike Ireland came up with it, and we're like, wow, that's not taken, and it fits the ethos of what, Saving Progress. Obviously, everybody understands you save your games and stuff when you're playing video games, but also the whole idea of calling it Saving Progress is to kind of redeem some of the qualities of gaming journalism and stuff that, certain websites and magazines and stuff kind of go down in the shitter and just they sell their souls to the devil, so to speak. So we kind of wanted to fight against that. So it's kind of like a dual purpose name, I guess.
Are you worried about Saving Progress losing its relevance as auto-saving becomes more and more prevalent?
It haunts me every single night.
Yeah, could be a terrible business decision for us. But anyway, look forward to, more Saving Progress branded content in the future. I don't know, probably not next week, but except for the podcast, of course.
Yeah.
But, as time goes on, something to keep in the back of your mind. Anyway, Mike Fox, what have you been playing this week, this beautiful week of May 30th?
This week, I've been dabbling in a few different games. Some of the stuff I'm still catching up on. Some things I'm just finding out about. One I recently looked at, formerly a PlayStation exclusive, is Rochard or Rockhard. I'm actually not sure how the heck they pronounce it, but
yeah, they say his name in the game, and it's John Rochard, but then when they pronounce it, sometimes it's Rockhard. So
yeah, and their website is kind of confusing too. And I've been playing it on my Mac. I have a Mac, and as you know.
Boo,
yeah, boo, Apple sucks. But even on their website, they don't even address that. So I guess they're kind of ashamed of it or something. It still says it's a PlayStation exclusive. But I thought I'd give it a whirl because it's a pretty neat game. You have, essentially, it's kind of like a gravity gun, I suppose, and you're on this asteroid mining this kind of fuel. And
yeah, it's like a physics-based platformer, kind of like a Trine type of game, I guess.
Yeah,
and familiar with that.
You can control gravity to some extent, which helps you use this gun. And you can move objects around and stuff. It's it's a nice kind of art style. It reminds me of Team Fortress 2, just the aesthetics of it, and it's pretty nice. That's I think it's going for $10 or something like that. It's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Rochard's a game that I took a look at I guess last year. It started out as a PSN exclusive and then was ported to Steam, and I believe after that it came to Xbox Live Arcade. But it definitely started as a a PS3 or PSN exclusive. And yeah, I thought it was pretty cool as well.
Well, there you go. I guess they need to update their website to let people know where all it's available. So another game I've been checking out was just actually the other night. It's a little indie arcade game on the Xbox Live Arcade called Spitfire.
I don't know that one actually.
Yeah, it's you can get it for $1 or 80 Microsoft points.
Oh, so it's like an Xbox Live indie games, not like an Xbox Live Arcade release.
No, it's in the indie games, but it's actually surprisingly well put together. It's not a very in-depth game, but basically you fly, you control your plane, you can upgrade your plane, buy a couple different new planes. It takes place in the World War II era. Surprisingly challenging, at least to start out, and just for $1 to kill an afternoon, it's actually surprisingly fun. I enjoyed it, and it's nice to see that kind of thing though, because I see a lot of games spamming the indie section of Xbox Live. All these games based on avatars and zombies, and just they're not even really games half the time. I find they're just people seeing if they can get a game published to the indie arcade, which I'm all for kids trying out, doing these things for high school projects and whatnot, but sometimes it's hard to weed out the good stuff from the bad.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And it's always nice to see a game on Xbox Live indie games that isn't just basically a pile of steaming garbage. There are, I would say 1 out of every 20 releases on Xbox Live indie games, and I've looked at them extensively over the past few months. It has any sort of validity to it whatsoever. It is not just a school project that frankly probably sucks, or a port of a 20-year-old Atari 2600 game. But yeah, it's always nice to see that when that happens. And you've been playing DLC Quest as well, right? That's another game that started on Xbox Live indie games, I think.
Yes, I got that, and of course, I kind of missed the boat on the first release, and I saw it pop up in the Mac App Store, so that's when I found out about it. But I'm surprised. I enjoyed it. It's pretty quick game. Beat it under an hour, but I played through it a couple times just to be thorough. And as a game, I really enjoy the message they're trying to put across with that, because as you are aware, and most people are aware, DLC has become a surprisingly big deal over the past few years, and so the whole point of the game is just great commentary on saying hey, sometimes DLC is a money grab, or it's not in the best interest of the actual game, and pushing it forward. So, and it's just kind of funny and clever in general. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Again, it's weird that we've taken a look at all these games so close together without even really talking about it with each other.
Yeah.
I took a look at DLC Quest less than a month ago for the first time on Xbox Live indie games, and I agree. I mean, you're paying $1 for what essentially amounts to an hour-long joke, and I think that's largely worth it. I mean, the gameplay's fine. It actually controls and looks way better than most games on Xbox Live indie games, but it's not going to blow anybody out of the water.
No.
But yeah, as a game, it's competent, and as a message or a joke, I think it works really well, and it's definitely worth your time and your money, considering both of those investments are going to be super, super small.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly. And that's I guess the big gist of what I've been playing this week.
I think you're leaving out one
is it this
loot-filled hole?
This loot-filled. Oh, what is that? It's some obscure game. All right, I've been trying. I shouldn't say this week I've been playing. I've been trying to play Diablo 3.
Oh yeah.
Even yesterday, I thought I'd get back on. I hadn't played in a few days, but servers were down for whatever reason. They're still trying to fix it, and it kind of sucks, because for me, if I don't get a game, if I don't get in on it pretty much from the get-go a lot of time, I will go even a couple years before I will come back to another game. So which is fine for something like Diablo, because I've been playing Diablo 2 for pretty much ever since it came out, off and on. So
yeah, if you skip 6 months of Diablo 3, there's still going to be millions of people playing it, obviously.
Yeah, and and I do understand that for such a huge release, biggest PC release of all time, isn't it? Didn't they?
Yeah, I think it's sold more copies in its opening day or opening week than any game in history. Something like 6 million copies.
Really? I thought it was for the first 24 hours, wasn't it 3.5 million.
3.5? I don't know. Maybe
Maybe
I'm
I'm
talking
reading
out
it
of my ass.
wrong. I'm not sure it actually beat Call of Duty though. I thought I'm
Whoever wins, we lose.
yeah. Either way, it's a big release, and with that, I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that they have to iron out. There's a lot of whiny teenagers that expect. I don't know what they expect. I mean, to me, they held true with all the feedback people gave from Diablo 2, and yeah, it's not going to be exactly the same game. If you want the exact same game, just keep playing Diablo 2. Like, you know, it's just not for everybody as well. That's something else to recognize. Is like, it's a loot-based game. You click and you collect and click and collect. So
Right. So where are you at in Diablo 3 now? Because I think the last time we played, I think we just finished Act 2 on normal, which is still fairly early on in the Diablo 3 experience.
yes, personally, I have reached. I'm in Nightmare just at the beginning of. For those of you unfamiliar, first difficulty is normal. Nightmare is what you unlock after beating normal. So I've beat the game on the easiest setting, and I'm just entering the third of the 4 acts on Nightmare. So I just before this I was watching Yahtzee's the escape artist, whatever.
Yeah, 0 punctuation.
Yeah, 0 punctuation. He did his review, and I kind of agreed with him that it's going down Blizzard's typical path of, it's easy, it kind of sucks in people at the start, and then they hit you with a ton of bricks. It starts to get a lot harder, and I shouldn't say it's very difficult, because it's not by you've played what is it, Dark Souls?
Yeah.
Shit like that, it doesn't compare to that until you get to something like Inferno, and then people complain about that being too hard. That's the point, is it's supposed to be impossible and take you a year to actually beat that. So story-wise, I enjoyed Diablo 3. I mean, it fits, it works well with Diablo 1 and 2, and they pull a lot of the story from those first 2 games into this one, so I think they did a good job on that front. But what's really in question is gameplay, and it's hard for me to comment on that after only playing it for a few hours. This is really one of those games that they intend you to keep playing and grinding and playing and grinding. So
Yeah, I mean, like, you and I have talked, I wouldn't say extensively, but we've talked a lot about how we feel about Diablo 3. And I'm glad that you brought up the point of difficulty. I'm not going to, like, bore the audience here with our analysis, but, yeah, because the thing with Diablo 3 that really got to me, I was excited for it. Maybe not as excited as some people, because it's been a long time since I played Diablo 2. But the thing that really stopped me from getting into Diablo 3, and the reason that I only have, probably like 8 hours in the game so far, is normal mode is way too goddamn easy for me. So I kind of got caught in this cycle where it's like, okay, the whole point of Diablo is like clicking on these monsters so that you can get better loot, so that you can, fare more successfully against these monsters. But I was playing as a monk, which I don't know if maybe that's just like an overpowered class. I assume Blizzard probably did some good balancing during beta testing. At least if PvP is eventually going to come out, they should have. So I was basically just like holding down the left mouse button and just fucking everything up. And this is with basically default gear. Like, if you watch those Diablo 3 videos that we posted, people are telling me like, dude, just equip those weapons that you find. Your monk is still going to punch shit. Like, your DPS is going to increase even if you're not using knuckle weapons. But the thing is, it was so easy to kill all these hordes that the loot didn't really matter to me. So it wasn't like something cool dropped and I was like, oh, I better equip this right away so I have a better chance against these monsters. It was like, oh, something new dropped. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't have an impact on whether or not I'm going to succeed against these monsters. So that kind of kept me from getting on the loot treadmill. And everybody's telling me, the game gets harder on Nightmare, and I assume it does, or it gets harder on Inferno. But I don't know, man. I just don't feel like I have the drive or the time to finish normal, which to me so far has been a slog. Like, it's just been honestly boring for me to get to Nightmare and then eventually start having fun.
No, I can understand that too, because I think part of the problem with the difficulty is that once you get on to the higher difficulties, your game, how you play the game changes drastically. Like, I mean, yeah, we basically walked through when we were playing Diablo pretty easily. I mean, it's just, you don't even have to use any health potions or anything like that. Yeah. And then so you kind of get stuck in this mode, in this routine, this way you play the game, and when it actually gets hard, you're like, oh shit, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, that's the point of games being easier, is to kind of like ease you into how you're supposed to play it, not create a different way of playing altogether. And I think that's where it's kind of fallen down, because then you get people, when they're actually getting to the harder difficulties, they're just like dying so much, and they don't understand all the dynamic ways to play, changing up skills and all that stuff. So that's kind of the biggest issue for me, I think, too, is just like not that is, I mean, I don't like super easy games, where's the challenge, but it's just kind of deceiving because it's not how the game is actually meant to be played.
Yeah, I can understand that. One of the weird things for me has been like being this person who has like this legitimate complaint about Diablo 3. And you're in the same boat as well. I'm not going to try to paint you as like an extremist, but there's like, when it comes to Diablo 3, it seems like there's two camps right now. There's people who are like, holy shit, this game is fucking awesome. I can't wait to spend like my whole summer inside playing Diablo 3. And that's not a knock on people who spend their whole summers inside, because of course I'm obviously one of them. And then there's this other side that's like, fucking Blizzard, always online, DRM, scumbags, this is the rise of the new Third Reich, like 0 out of 10 on Metacritic, this game's garbage. And then there's just kind of like me in the middle who's like, I mean, online DRM, or always online DRM, I guess it's kind of shitty, but it doesn't really bother me that much. Like, my internet doesn't go out very often. I mean, it sucks that Blizzard's having these technical issues on their end. That really sucks. But by and large, it doesn't bother me that much. I've got other stuff to play when the servers go down. And I also don't think, like, I could spend 80 hours into this game. So there's kind of me in the middle being like, 7 out of 10, 7.5. I
mean, to me, I'm in the similar boat. Like, I very much enjoyed the, like, Diablo 1 and 2 were very nostalgic for me. And obviously, I was eager to see Diablo 3, and I was hoping it would, do well and fulfill all my childhood fantasies. But and I completely understand the online DRM. Like, it's a tricky situation with all this piracy and mumbo jumbo and stuff like that. But I personally, I don't have an issue with it. My only issue, and this is specific to where I am in my situation, is that the always online play kind of sucks, because I can't play the game a lot of the times. Like, it's pointless to play because I'm on a satellite internet connection, which is weird. I can stream Netflix without any effort. I can play on Xbox Live. I can do all this other stuff. It's actually pretty good. But when it comes to Diablo 3, I don't know how their servers are set up, if it's going to be optimized further, but I just, like, half the time I can't play. I lag so much, and that was the problem that we had when you're like, dude, are you, like, not holding down the run button or this or that? And, like, on my screen it looked mostly okay, but apparently I had two prosthetic legs on your screen.
Well, on your screen it was like you would do like a step, and then on my screen, sorry, you would do a step and then stop, and then like do a step and then stop, whereas on my screen, like, everybody else is just full on sprinting, so you would fall behind like probably like a dungeon floor.
No, that is not an exaggeration at all. And like, that continued when I was playing with our other friends, Brad and Clint, and it was kind of like an inside joke. It's like, Fox, hurry the fuck up. Like, we need you over here killing shit. And then I'd get over there and I would lag so hard that I would just die anyways. So, but it's kind of up and down. Some days it'll be great and some days it's not. So I'm just hoping that that's something on their end, because they have been having all these issues with servers, that it'll clear up. Because I feel for people with shitty connections, but at the same time, technology's got to move forward, and we can't always be like, oh, you live in rural Tibet or whatever. Like, let's accommodate to the lowest common denominator, because it's like,
fuck you, rural Tibetans.
95% of the people playing this game have decent high-speed internet, I'm sure. So, like, it's just it's sad, but it's reality. So
the thing that bugs me about this always online DRM is the people who complain hard about it, but then just like buy the game anyway. And this is the same thing that happened with like Mass Effect 3 Day 1 DLC. It's people who got all up in arms like, rabble, 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 EA is like the worst company on earth, Day 1 DLC. And then a lot of them like went out and like didn't cancel their pre-orders, just bought the game anyway, bitching all the while, and like, get home, put it on Metacritic, give this a 2 out of 10. But like, companies don't give a shit about like what you're saying on forums or like what their Metacritic user rating is for like Mass Effect 3. If you like really hate always online DRM, really hate shit like day one DLC, you gotta not buy the product no matter how much that sucks for you. As long as you hate what you're protesting more than you would get the enjoyment from the game. Otherwise, companies are looking at this and seeing like people are mad, but you know Mass Effect 3 is setting these new record sales numbers. It's just kind of like this impotent rage that doesn't accomplish anything.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, that's the way the world works, right? I mean, if they're seeing positive numbers, lots of money coming in, like, then shit, why are they going to change what they're doing? It does, you know, from a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense to listen to some Joe Blow who's whining about shit, but he buys every single FIFA game or whatever.
Why do you have to bring FIFA into this, man?
I actually want to play some FIFA with you. I think it'd be a fun time.
You know, actually, I'm going to be hypocritical now, because I'm going to complain even though I bought FIFA 12. EA is doing this shit where now if you want to play the games online, you either have to buy a new copy of the game, or if you buy a used copy, you have to pay them $10 per game to get like a code to play it online.
That's silly.
And what I did was I bought a used copy of the game and just didn't play it online. So I guess, you know, nobody's happy in that situation, which is exactly the way I want it.
Well, I mean, you can still play multiplayer if you've got people living in the same house.
You can do like couch co-op and stuff.
Yeah, and that's I don't know. It's that's another interesting thing too. Just to kind of go off on a tangent. What's your general opinion? What do you think of the state of local game or multiplayer versus online multiplayer? I mean, obviously, a lot of the games these days, you see, they don't even ship with local multiplayer. Or even local co-op and stuff like that. It's kind of...
Yeah, you know what's weird is that, like, a lot of the games, because I play a lot of, like, Xbox Live Arcade releases, a lot of those games don't come with couch co-op anymore, or any kind of local multiplayer. But then on the flip side, like, a lot of games on Steam ship with no network ability and only couch co-op, which is, like, they should definitely mix and match that, because... I don't want to like sit next to somebody at my computer and play like this co-op game
in a LAN party.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm gonna lug my PC around so I can play like Air Mech with somebody.
Yeah, I mean
that's a bad example. That game has network.
It's like it was kind of cool back in the day when you know with Xbox, you know we get a hub and you'd have 4 Xboxes. Like that kind of works. But
yeah.
For somebody who's got a desktop computer, like a full out powerful game, you say you want to play like Crysis or some shit. Like I don't know if you can play that together, but you know those kind of high graphical or whatever high resource games and stuff like that, you're not gonna go and sit with your I mean I'm sure there are some people who do that, but not most people. It kind of
I agree with you.
I don't know, but
anyway, so that's what you played this week.
That's the majority of it. I've also just looking at a game too quickly. It's called Scoregasm. I'm not sure if you've heard of that.
Yeah. Is that
It's like,
is that on Mac or something now?
It is on Mac.
I think it used to be Xbox Live Indie Games. Maybe is where it started.
Oh God, I know.
Or PC. I can't remember.
I think it might be a few things, but yeah, it came out last year on a couple different platforms, and it's on Steam as well. Actually, if it's normally $10 on Steam, I think now it's 70% off. You can get it for $3, which is actually a pretty good deal. I was playing it briefly just to.
It's a twin stick shooter.
Well, on the computer, no. Basically, you just you move with the arrow keys or WASD, and then you just you move your mouse, you don't to shoot. So I guess it probably would be a twin stick shooter.
I would call that a twin stick shooter, yeah.
Twin stick shooter, even though I'm playing it on the computer, and it's basically like it's a Geometry Wars of sorts.
Okay, yeah.
So if you like that kind of game, I think it's pretty interesting, pretty decent, but nothing extremely new to the genre. But for $3, it might be worth checking out if that's your sort of thing.
Yeah, it's cool.
So maybe I might be having a look at it later on or doing a video. I'm not exactly sure whether it's worthy of that. But
you make videos on like YouTube or Dailymotion or something?
No, on what is it, MSNBC?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's.
I just publish my videos directly to Hulu.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, which is really shitty because I can't access them in Canada.
No, neither can I.
Yeah.
No.
All right, well, I'm selfish, so let's talk about what I played this week.
Yeah, do that, please. Tell.
All right, we got a long list here.
Okay,
Number one definitely would be The Binding of Isaac, because the huge premium Wrath of the Lamb DLC came out.
What's that? That's like $3 it's going for right now?
$3, yeah, and The Binding of Isaac is on sale for this last week of May. Probably by the time this goes up, it will be off of sale. But, I mean, most people watching this on my channel probably are familiar with The Binding of Isaac enough anyway that they own it. But yeah, so you can get The Binding of Isaac, the game, for $2, and then the DLC for $3. And basically, just adds like a ton of items to the game, as well as some new levels. There's like some alternate pathing that you can take. Like, it used to be like you go basement, and then you go down to the caves, and the depths, and then the womb. But now sometimes, depending on how you do, it will like branch out and give you like harder paths or easier paths, which is kind of neat.
So
you ever play The Binding of Isaac?
I've been
It's
thinking
out on
about.
Mac.
Yeah, no, I heard I had a couple issues though on the.
Yeah, the Wrath of the Lamb DLC, as of today, I think still doesn't work on Mac, but they're releasing new versions constantly.
Trying to set me up, you son of a bitch.
It's $5, man. It's still worth it either way.
I think because I got Super Meat Boy. That's a great game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, a lot of people. That was your big landmark thing, and so I enjoy that game. The aesthetics of it all, it's simple. And Binding of Isaac, I mean, I've seen your videos and stuff like that. It looks like a terribly creative and just fun game. So I think I will be picking that up pretty soon. I might wait a couple days to make sure things are working. I don't want to buy it and not be able to use it out of the box, but.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not going to talk too much more about The Binding of Isaac because I've got like 160 videos of that. But
that's it. That's it. I thought you had.
So suffice to say, I think the DLC is a really nice upgrade and definitely adds a lot of life to the game, which is pretty crazy. Like this game is getting this kind of support when it was just kind of like a $5 side project. But anyway, we played a little bit of Ticket to Ride earlier this week.
Yes,
that's kind of cool, I guess.
I enjoy it. I'm still thinking about it. It's just it's a clever, whimsical little game, and it's old. How it's like 20 years old or some shit.
I don't know. I've always been a fan of like computerized versions of board games.
Remember cereal boxes when they first started putting Monopoly?
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I gotta step up my cereal eating quota, so mom will go buy another box, and maybe I'll get sorry this time or something.
I got Roller Coaster Tycoon in a box of cereal once.
Damn, that's like a crown jewel. That's a good game.
Yeah, that is a game. I think I already owned it at one point. Like I paid $50 or $60 for a copy of Roller Coaster Tycoon. But then I got it for free in like a box of honeycomb or something.
That was like one of the pioneers of all these management type games, restaurant management and
Farmville.
Oh god, that's my favorite game of 2010. When did Farmville come out?
All years. It's just
all
a game
years.
Of the year all
it's
year.
Been flagging Earth ever since. It's gonna find out how to go back in time, and then it'll declare itself the first game ever made and ruin life as we know it.
We'll have like a game like Dark Souls will come out, and reviewers will be like, "What the fuck? Like this isn't like Farmville at all. Where do I invest my real money?
Where are the carrots?
Where are the carrots?
I need more
Michael
carrots.
A. L. Fox asking the hard-hitting questions.
We need our vitamins, okay?
I've been playing some DayZ.
DayZ, which is a game I was loving to try and play. I spent a good $40 and several hours downloading it, but I can't play it yet. So
what's wrong with it?
I'm honestly not sure if it's my connection again, which we obviously talked about. But the last time I tried to get on, my ping was low and shit was blazing, but I still couldn't connect to his server. So
well, you know what? This game is super, super buggy, and I think it's one of those things where they had like this limited infrastructure in place for like a small group of players that were playing it, and then all this media picked up on it, and suddenly it has grown into like one of the most played games on Steam. Like, never mind mods, it's just like one of the most played games, period. So I don't think they have the kind of like server support that is necessary to keep this up. Like, if you think Blizzard servers going down for Diablo 3 is bad, I would say DayZ has like 80% uptime. A lot of the time when I try to play, it's just inaccessible. Well,
hopefully, I'm gonna keep an eye on it because I've seen your videos that you've done so far, and I've been like, hey, shit, that'd be fun to play alongside and survive. And I'd actually maybe help you because you're just awful at surviving in general, real life and video games. But I think it's interesting because you know, we've touched on this before, is like, you know, zombies are pretty common theme these days, and it's just like it's hard to find anything sort of refreshing. But it looks, I mean, explain to me, you know, is it like is it pretty realistic, or like how I just have, what's the pull to this?
Yeah,
zombie
the
game?
point is that it's supposed to be like super realistic, and kind of like more on the survival side. Like I always compare it, because it's a good contrast actually, to like Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is one of those like just first person shooters. You're mowing zombies down. Like one zombie does not present you with a threat.
Not at all.
Like 30
Unless it's a
zombies
tank,
doesn't
but-
present you with a threat. Unless it's a special type of zombie. I get you. But DayZ, like one zombie is like a serious problem, because if you shoot that one zombie, your gunshot is going to alert like all these zombies around you. So instead of, it's never like, okay, I can just shoot the zombie, then go into the house and, you know, pick up the can of beans that's in there so I can survive a little bit longer. It's always like, shoot this zombie, then 10 more come. So you got to weigh that versus just trying to sneak around. But if you sneak around, like the zombie could sneak up on you and maybe do some damage to you. And it's got all this stuff like it's got a hunger meter and like a thirst meter. Internal temperature, you've got to regulate your temperature if it gets too hot or too cold.
Do you use a rectal thermometer?
I use rectal everything. Like you get cans of food and water bottles. I just shove all those up there.
It goes straight to your bloodstream. It's a lot
Yeah,
quicker.
and then you throw up empty cans,
It
which
seems-
just makes nice glasses if you're throwing a party or something.
yeah. Hey, repurpose, reuse.
Hey, where'd you get this glass? Oh, actually,
I just
used to be a can of beans that I shoved up my ass.
and then I shit it out my mouth. You
Yeah.
know, that's an actual like thing. People can actually vomit shit. I'm not joking. That
Ripley's
is-
Believe It or Not. I don't
Like
know.
no, it's like I'm pretty sure it's a medical condition. I mean, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost certain that I've read multiple times
Like
that
after they eat shit, or they
no,
actually vomit
It's like
shit up from their
you know,
intestines?
like hey, we go to McDonald's or something, and then you know, a day or two later, when that shit is all ground up into turd
Right?
nuggets
That's
and
how
stuff,
the body does
instead
it,
of
medical
coming out the
terms.
ass, it just comes back up and out your mouth. Like I don't. You know, I am too afraid to do the research on my own. I just want somebody to like say yes, that's a thing. And then,
I think that's crazy, but who knows? Maybe I guess stranger things have happened.
yes, that's true. Stranger things have happened.
All right, so segueing off of that, yeah, DayZ's a lot of fun. It's super buggy, but if you can get past that, then you can have a good time. Lots of people enjoying themselves, and lots of people thinking I'm a serious douchebag for just murdering everyone that I've come across. But my defense is, if I don't murder them, they're gonna murder me. It's happened so many times before.
The old,
Yeah.
Cold War scenario.
Exactly. I don't feel bad. I'm gonna put a bullet in their head before they put one in mine, and then I'm gonna steal all of their cans of Pepsi.
So it's basically like the video game form of 28 Days Later.
Yeah, I guess so. You could think of it like that.
That's good. Because he drinks Pepsi. That's the first thing he does. He drinks.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That's
he
the first thing I do every day.
He chugs it. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
nothing
2
wrong with
liters, doesn't matter.
Some warm fizzy Pepsi in the AM.
So, yeah, I played a lot of DayZ. Played a lot of Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Ah, yes. Yeah, that's a game. That's in beta right now, is it not?
Yeah, it's in closed beta. A member of the audience, I say that like they're sitting like in front of us in studio right now. But I was given a gift copy of that, and never played Counter-Strike before except for like 10 minutes of Counter-Strike on the original Xbox, which a lot of Counter-Strike players, I guess, tend to look down on for probably obvious reasons.
Casual scum.
Yeah, basically. But I'm having a good time with Counter-Strike Global Offensive so far. As a new player, I think it's fairly noob friendly, except for the fact that I'm getting my ass kicked by 80% of players that I come across. But slowly but surely, I'm clawing my way from total shit at the game to just like marginal shit at the game, and having a lot of fun with it. It reminds me a lot of those first-person shooters that we used to play, like when we were in high school. Like the more, and I don't really know the state of modern first-person shooters online, but it reminds me a lot of like playing Rainbow Six 3 when we were younger, or even something like Halo 2.
Those were good times.
Yeah, it's good days, right?
What main game type I guess are you playing in Counter-Strike? I mean, is it the same kind of thing? Terrorist versus non-terrorist.
Yeah. It's terrorists versus counter-terrorists. There's a few different types of game modes, and it kind of like varies depending on the map. But normally it's like terrorists are trying to plant a bomb at a point, and counter-terrorists are trying to defuse the bomb. So like you can win as either team in one of two ways. You can either kill every enemy on the team, or you can stop them from doing their objective. Which is usually plant the bomb or like rescuing hostages or something.
So how is this game different from the previous versions of Counter-Strike? Is it just like a graphical update, or?
I have no goddamn idea.
It's just fun as.
Yeah, it's fun. Like I recorded a video of it this week, like a let's look at. And in the video, I'm basically saying, like, you have mercy on me. I don't know how this compares to previous Counter-Strike versions, but, you know, taking a look at it as a standalone game, I think it's really well done. It's a lot of fun to play.
Well, that's good. I mean, I'm ready to check it out whenever I guess it leaves closed beta.
And that's actually, it's interesting because that's not just releasing on PC. That's releasing on, like, basically every platform that you could imagine. Like, there's going to be a PC release, a Mac release, and it's also coming to Xbox Live Arcade and PSN.
So how does the online work?
It'll be like console specific, I think. Maybe Mac and PC will be able to play together, but I can't guarantee that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, at least for that, because I don't imagine a lot of people will be getting it for Mac.
Probably not, no.
And yeah, I mean,
you know, it's a popular game. Like, I guess just by like sheer numbers, lots of people own Macs. Lots of people love Counter-Strike. There's going to be some overlap.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for certain. But I'm just thinking it probably be ideal if shared servers for Mac and PC. I think that'd be the best way to go.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think I read on Wikipedia that they were looking at shared servers for like PS3 and PC, but then eventually they decided that would just, I don't know, compromise the game too much.
Yeah, it is a different kind of world, you know, going from controller to keyboard and mouse and all that mumbo jumbo. I don't know.
So that's coming out. There's no release date set, but probably sometime. The ruminations I've heard have been like, you know, late summer, early fall 2012 maybe. And I'm going to go ahead and guess that that's going to be like a $15 or $20 purchase.
That seems pretty decent. I mean,
mostly because like it's coming out on Xbox Live Arcade and PSN, so it's not going to be like a $60 release.
Right.
Because there's never been anything that cost that much that came out via those distribution platforms. But, you know, I feel like Minecraft is $20. This is probably going to be $20 too. Maybe 15 if Valve's feeling particularly generous.
All right, well, I'm going to definitely give it a look when I get the chance. It'd be a good game to test out on my, hopefully, in the future, new PC.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not that graphically intensive, but it does look pretty good.
No, yeah, but yeah, so that's good. That's good.
All right, random, still like I said, played a lot this week. Played a little Trials Evolution.
Oh, yes.
Don't think we need to talk about that too much, but I'm still enjoying that game. I'm not sure how much time you spent with like the custom tracks.
Actually, I haven't even tried the custom tracks yet.
You should try that because they have been making some amazing stuff in that game.
Difficulty-wise, how does it compare to the built-in?
You can find a range of difficulties, but I'm not sure how far you got in like the single player of Trials Evolution, but that shit gets hard towards the end, like seriously difficult.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's I mean, I'm pretty amazing at it though. I mean, I beat most of your scores.
Yeah,
so
naturally.
Yeah, what can I say? No, I think I'm really surprised. You know, I remember when Trials first came out, and however many years ago, that was quite a while ago, right? And you know, they're starting to step it up. It's
yeah, definitely.
It's good, but no, I definitely need to check out the custom tracks because I think that's one of the pulls of a game like this is getting the community obviously working in on making their own tracks and sharing and trying out and stuff like that. I think that's a really good idea, and I wish more games were doing that these days.
And the level editor is like amazing. People have made like first person shooters in it. I played one level that was like a top-down dungeon crawler, like an RPG.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like shit is crazy. I played another one that was like a recreation of Hoth, or the Battle of Hoth in Empire Strikes Back, where you're using like the speeder and wrapping the tow cables around the Imperial walkers. Like people are doing some really amazing stuff with it, not just like making courses that you can bike through, although those are oftentimes the most fun. But yeah, people are getting really creative with it. So, you know, we're like a month on, I guess like 6 weeks on from the release of Trials Evolution, and still definitely one of my favorite games of this year.
Yeah, I'd have to say it's up there for me as well. I'll have to gonna get back into it and check out these custom tracks.
All right, I also took a look at a game called Field Runners. You might be familiar with this one.
No, I am not. Please share your knowledge of it with me.
It's a tower defense game.
Okay.
That's basically all there is to say. There will be a video of it going up, I know, at some point. I kind of consider it, this sounds shitty, but like low priority because I don't think a lot of people are that interested in the game. Mm-hmm. It's like a standard tower defense game. There's nothing really more to say. There's been a lot of tower defense this year, and I'm getting pretty goddamn sick of it by and large. But at least games like Toy Soldiers and Gratuitous Tank Battles had some kind of like unique twist.
Mm-hmm.
Field Runners, not so much. But it's only $3. It's like super casual. It's all right, totally competent, but probably not recommendable because it feels like a waste of time if you're not a tower defense fan. I think it started on iOS though, which is why I thought you would be familiar with it. But I guess like thousands of games come out every year for iOS.
Yeah, it's true. And honestly, I'm not huge into iOS games. I do enjoy my iPhone and the whole app structure and how, but I just don't find myself currently with how my lifestyle is. I'm not sitting for large amounts of time. Back when I was in Toronto and stuff, taking the train, I was like 2 hours each way. That's kind of the perfect scenario for the iOS or your Nintendo DS. So
yeah, man, I totally agree with you. Like Steam has seen like a flood of iOS ports so far this year, and I have to wonder like who is sitting down and like playing a game like Field Runners. I mean, this is a shitty example because nobody has seen Field Runners unless they've actually searched it out. Like nobody's seen it on my channel. But games like, I don't know, Bumbledore, which was like another shitty tower defense game that I played, or Dead Hungry Diner, which was like a Diner Dash clone, like stuff like that. I can't imagine people being like, oh shit, Dead Hungry Diner came out on Steam this week. I can't wait to like do a 6-hour marathon session on my $1,500 PC to play this game that most people would consider like a passing diversion, slightly better than a bus ride.
Yeah, it's weird how your perception, at least for me anyways, perception of games changes quite a bit from when I get home and I'm like, oh shit, this game sucks, or and then as soon as you get on the bus to the subway or whatever, you're like, it completely changes. You're like, the smallest thing is amusing to you. So it's odd how iOS has kind of taken off for gaming, but I can kind of understand. Like nobody really expected that sort of thing, but everybody's got a phone these days and they're trying to kill 5 minutes at a time. So that's why you're seeing all these $1, $2 games that people are like, shit, like that's the price of a coffee, so you don't even think about buying it even if you just play it once. So
yeah, it's totally different. Like if you're reviewing these games from like a mobile perspective, then $1 for a game that gives you like, I don't know, 2 hours of mindless enjoyment is a pretty good deal. But reviewing this as someone like from a PC perspective, it's not a waste of money because these games are usually super cheap, but it is like a huge waste of time when you could be playing something else that's more enriching.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these games, they're designed for handhelds and stuff like that in mind, lowest common denominator. Which is fine, but as soon as you blow that up and put it on a big screen and you're sitting in a comfy chair and stuff like that, it's just like, it's mind numbing. It's a weird, I don't know. So
yeah, no, I'm with you. And I played a lot of little stuff this week, like stuff that's going to be coming out on Steam, early June, late May. But I haven't really spent enough time with it to really be able to comment on it. I guess the last thing I spent any significant time with this week would be Skullgirls.
Skullgirls, rings a bell.
It's a fighting game. Came out for PSN and XBLA sometime in April.
Okay.
It's like a cartoon style. It's got a really neat aesthetic. It's a 2D fighter. But the first time I played Skullgirls, like when I finally got my copy of it, I was basically just overwhelmed because this is not a game for like casual fighting game fans, which is what I am. I probably have like maybe 20 hours total in Street Fighter 4.
I was gonna say,
yeah. Like I haven't played many fighting games, so this like the tutorial of Skullgirls is like 10 lessons or 14 lessons, and it took me over an hour to beat just to learn how to like block and like cancel throws and stuff like that, and chain my moves into a combo and like unleash my super moves. But anyway, and the game's like super hard. Like they have 4 difficulties. The lowest one is Sleepwalk, and so I was going through the campaign mode on Sleepwalk and still getting beat by the AI sometimes. Which is pretty crazy. I would have thought just like button mashing would be enough to get me past that. But so I kind of put Skullgirls aside because I was like, this is not a game for me. This is a game for people who are willing to invest like 20, 30 hours, learn the game, and then go play it at tournaments or something.
So yeah, like this is kind of directed towards people that actually play, the fighting genre. Right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I've never been into, say for earlier childhood, Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, but I was never... Fighting games in general never really appealed to me all that much. I played, what's that one? Soul Calibur and stuff like that, but never seriously. I'd always get discouraged when I play with people that actually take them seriously and just kick my ass. It's like honestly, you might as well just give the controller to a rock, because that's. But so I mean, how is this game gonna do for somebody like me? Is that something I should check out if I'm?
Here's the thing, right? Because my Skullgirls narrative when I was playing against the AI was like, just fuck it, like I can't play this game. I don't know if it's good, I don't know if it's bad, it's just not for me. But then I started playing it a little bit this week with a friend of mine who is also like totally brand new at the game. And when we just started kind of like butting our heads together when we were playing the game, we started to kind of develop a strategy, and the game started to be a little bit fun. So I would throw the caveat in there. I think Skullgirls maybe is a good fighting game, but unless you're willing to get super competitive and like super in deep with it, the only reason you should buy it is probably if you have someone that you can play it with who's around the same skill level in fighting games. Otherwise, you're just going to get stomped, or you're going to stomp them over and over.
So Stan, basically, my housemate.
Yeah, exactly. If you live with like a 40 to 50-year-old man who has never played video games before in his life, that's probably a good partner for a fighting game.
Excellent. That's good. I'll bring it up at our next dinner discussion.
All right, and that's coming to PC as well. I think they announced that a little while ago, so that'll be on Steam eventually. Again, it's one of those things where like I got a copy of Skullgirls and I was like, cool, I'll get okay at Skullgirls and then make a video, and then an hour later I was like, no fucking way. There's no way I'm making a video of this game, because my opinion on a game like Skullgirls does not matter at all. Like, I'm not qualified to talk about it. That would be like me taking a look at StarCraft 2 or something. And I'd be like, oh, well, the units seem like really well designed. There seems to be good balance in the game, when in reality I have no fucking idea. Like, the people who play that game are only going to be hardcore players. So, like, casual players will be pissed off if they buy it on my recommendation and then don't like it because it's too hardcore, and hardcore players will be pissed off at my video because I'll like make mistakes or just suck too bad at the game.
I respect that, and that's something that people need to be aware of in gaming journalism in general. It's like nobody's the be all end all. It's just so many freaking video games out there. There's so many genres and stuff like that, and yeah, it's hard to be the voice of objectivity and stuff like that for a lot
absolutely.
of these genres. So you get some kudos from me for realizing that.
Well, it comes from experience of making videos for games that I wasn't qualified for, and then people in the comments being like, Northernlion's an idiot. Fag.
No,
like this so he can see how dumb he is.
Yeah, hell hath no fury like a gamer scorner.
That is true. If you look at user reviews for Diablo 3 and Mass Effect 3.
That's true. Blizzard is being very patient with their customers currently. I mean, like, if I had a product, yeah, sure, maybe it's a slightly faulty product at the start, but if somebody starts yelling in leet speak and throwing feces at me, I'm probably gonna be like, fuck you, and
yeah, get out of my store
with
your shit hands.
I might pull out a knife or something just to add to the threatening.
I don't think anyone would follow you for that. I think people would be on your side.
Good.
Once you start pooping in your hand and throwing it around, I think all bets are off. No judge will convict you.
Hey, I'm all for eye for an eye, so maybe I'll just poop in my hand and throw it back at them.
You are gonna send us back to the time of the apes.
Well, what's wrong with that? People are too stressed these days. They're always worried about their BlackBerries and Exchange servers and and their
I know I am.
Their no carb diets. It's just like, come on, let's go
poop
back
in our hands.
Poop in our hands.
Throw it at each other.
It's nice and warm. And actually, I'm sure if you get rid of the smell.
Yeah.
It's experience.
Science. Are you listening, scientists? Invent a miracle pill to take the shit smell out of shit so we can throw it at each other.
And make it so you can eat it and not die of, like, diseases.
You heard it here first. Michael A.L. Fox. I always feel weird calling you Michael A.L. Fox.
Well, and that's I kind of feel bad in a way because it doesn't really help promote myself on YouTube. But one, like, Michael Fox is not a name that I can claim because that's already taken.
That would probably be great from a marketing standpoint.
It would be, except, all the Michael J. Fox enthusiasts and fans and stuff, Michael J. Fox 18239, that guy, he just I can't. Anyways, so but the thing is, it works well because I can pretty much take it on any website. Nobody uses it.
True. Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, you don't have to call me Michael A.L. Fox. You can call me bro.
All right,
you can call
bro.
me Fox. You can call me Jabroni. You're my Jabroni.
You can call me Al.
I will call you Al.
Okay. All right, so that's what we played this week. That was our first rough segment at 50 minutes in length.
Yeah, that's good. What about news?
Let's talk about let's talk about news. I don't really have too much news this week. As I mentioned, actually I didn't mention this. Indie Royale has released a new bundle, the graduation bundle. So if you're not familiar with them, they are like the second kind of Humble Indie bundle, like the bundle that came after the Humble bundle. Mm-hmm. And usually like Humble bundle contains like pretty AAA indie games without that being like, contradictory.
Contradictory.
Includes games like Super Meat Boy, Braid, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Indie Royale usually has, and I don't mean this to be super offensive, but like second tier indie games, but still more than like, I don't know, bundle in a box. There's all these indie bundles that I struggle to keep straight in my head. So that came out. Current minimum, because this is not like pay what you want, it's pay what you want over the minimum.
Yep.
Is $5.07, and for that you get The Void. You familiar with that game?
Yes.
Really?
Sort of.
All right. Well, I'm not at all.
What else we got on the roster?
Dead Pixels, which I think is like a zombie action adventure game.
Okay, that's new to me.
The Ship, which is a game I actually know. The Ship is like, I told you about Spy Party probably, even if you didn't see my video.
I saw it at PAX East, not this.
Like 2010?
Yeah, 2010. Was that 2010?
Or 2011, I guess.
Yeah, was that? That was 2011. Yeah, so I saw a bit of that, but like everything was in like crazy shapes, and it was very far from complete. But
The Ship is kind of like that. It's like, as far as I understand it, I've never played it, but I do have a copy. Probably like 4 copies now, because it's in this bundle that I just purchased. But you are like one person in each game is like a murderer, and they have a target. So their job is to kind of like move around stealthily and kill their target when they're alone without being discovered.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as I know, anyway.
Yeah.
And every copy of The Ship that you buy comes with 2 extra giftable Steam keys. And every gift that you give of The Ship comes with 1 extra giftable Steam key. So this is probably, at this point, like one of the most traded or gifted games on Steam, I'm guessing.
Wow. You should gift one to me.
I will, because I have 4 now, I think.
Thanks.
So cool. We can maybe get some playthrough of that. I'm not promising any videos, but we can test it out with each other.
For shizzle.
See what the hell's going on there. 4th game is 1000 Amps, which is actually kind of a cool indie puzzle platformer that I covered a little bit earlier this year. Kind of got swept under the rug because it's not really like aesthetically remarkable or anything like that, but it's got solid puzzling gameplay, and by itself was $5, and I recommended that purchase for people who are fans of the genre. So you can pick it up here for like $5.07 as of the time of this recording, with like 5 other games. So I think that justifies the purchase of it itself.
That's like $5. That's nothing.
Yeah, no big deal. Less than a lunch.
Less than a lunch, You can't get a Big Mac combo for under $7 or whatever. I don't even know. Inflation, man, it's crazy.
Hopefully that doesn't apply to Steam anytime soon.
God damn, I hope not.
5th game is called Laser Cat. No idea. And it also includes an Air Mech Steam beta key, which is like a free-to-play game that's in beta right now. It's kind of like a MOBA. It's actually a lot of fun. You play as like a transforming Gundam robot that can also be a jet.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, it looks good. It plays good. It has kind of a shitty free-to-play model in my mind. It's a little bit pay-to-win. Like you can pay real money for like experience boosts and like in-game credit boosts. But all of the stuff in-game, with like a very, very few exceptions, can be purchased with in-game currency, which is, I guess, a little bit more forgivable.
Good. I mean, yeah, I technically, I don't really have a huge issue with people using real-world money to advance in games. Like, I wouldn't do it. I don't think it's, that great. But as long as there's a way for me to actually earn it. Like, if you're actually paying to have an advantage that non-paying people have, like, that doesn't jive with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I've spent like maybe 90 minutes, 2 hours with Air Mech so far. And the way it looks to me is that if you pay like real money to get these boosts, you can get in-game currency faster. So you can buy more shit, like more units or like new air mechs. So like instead of being a transforming jet, you will be like a transforming helicopter or a transforming UFO or something. But the defaults that they give you seem to be, maybe in many cases, actually better than the stuff that you buy. So it seems like it's more of like a cosmetic upgrade, which is good because coming from a game like Moonbreakers, which was like the last free to play that I played, it was like you start with these shitty ships, and then you can buy boosts that will upgrade your like in-game credit speed, the speed at which you get your in-game currency, and then you can buy like just missile launchers and shit to tack onto your ship that will make you like indestructible compared to the free to play players. But I think Airmech does a good job with it. It's entering closed beta, I believe. I think it's in closed alpha right now, but you can get that as part of the graduation bundle on Indie Royale. So that's my Indie Royale news.
That's good. Yeah, I'll have to have a look-see at those, and maybe I'll throw down $5, $10, $15. Maybe
it's $508
maybe
now.
$500.
Maybe $500.
Yeah, I might do it.
Why not? That'll get your name on the leaderboard probably.
Just go pick a few bills off my miners trio back. And,
So yeah, that's that. I think it's reasonably worth it, if only for 1,000 amps, and I guess like 10 copies of the ship that you generate just by purchasing it.
That's good. Yeah. What do you think? Kind of a little tangent, but
yeah,
a lot of games as of late have been doing the old playable alpha, beta, and stuff like that. They're really pushing that. So what's your stance on that? You think it's a positive thing in the gaming industry? Maybe negative thing?
I like it.
Yeah.
I think it gives you early access to games, which is good because there's not a lot of demos these days. Like, people just tend to like throw their game up for release. It used to be like back in the day, you get a demo of basically everything before you played it.
Yep, good
or
old
before you bought it.
Official Xbox magazine and stuff like that.
Exactly, man. And yeah, nowadays I think it's kind of cool that like you can pay for a game before it's out, and you won't get access to the full game just yet, but you'll get kind of access to builds as development goes along. I think it's a positive change.
That's good. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. It's just, and it's good for getting feedback. I mean, you actually have a chance to kind of say like, oh shit, this doesn't work, and you're at a stage in the development where it's not the end of the world to change it or whatever. Whereas after the fact, you've shipped out 6 million Call of Duty discs or whatever, then you're in a clusterfuck of pain when half the game is broken and you gotta fix it. So
yeah, and I mean it's probably a good source of revenue for developers in development as well. So like
that
as opposed to this cycle of just like, okay, we're gonna make like a ton of money like the first month our game is out and then a little bit of money for the rest of its lifespan. Now it's like a little bit more spread out maybe, which is probably useful for a lot of them.
And I imagine it's actually got to be, I'm sure in some situations it might be more stressful, but you look at things like Kickstarter and whatnot, all these crowd-funded games and stuff like that. I mean, it's a good way to say like, hey, we've got this really cool idea, but it's kind of wacky, and we're not sure. Should we go ahead and spend the next 2 years of our lives, sleeping 3 hours a night to make this game? And I think that's kind of cool that people can be like, oh yeah, I love this game. Here, have $20 or whatever. Like, that's how much I love it, and I'm willing to trust you guys. So I think
the one caveat to it is like people right now have this expectation like I'm paying for access to the beta. This is also going to give me access to the full game when it comes out. Mm-hmm. But an issue that came up, I'm not sure. Do you know Project Zomboid?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they were doing this like paid beta or alpha access, and then their code got robbed because they kept it on like one laptop.
They didn't back up.
Right, which is a mistake.
Amateurs.
So stupid that only I could make it probably. Yep. That's what I thought at first anyway. But yeah, so then like they lost all their beta code and they're like, hey guys, like they're doing drunken tweets. I'm not trying to harp on them in case they may be listening, but doing drunken tweets like, I think we're not going to be able to come back from this. We're going to have to like abandon development of the game. And everyone was like, whoa, we gave you our money so that we can get a full version of this game when it comes out. And they're like, what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? Well, it turns out they've gone back. They've apparently made the game a lot better. They've continued with development. So, good for them. But eventually there is going to be a situation like either with this paid beta or like a Kickstarter where people pay for it and then the game just doesn't come out, and you can't just like give those people their money back. That money's been spent, right?
Yeah, and that's why I mean you need to have. I mean, I'm not all for like always adding middlemen and stuff like that, but sometimes it's beneficial to have something like PayPal or whoever in between where they can kind of help facilitate that sort of those transactions and stuff like that. Because like you said, eventually, shit does happen. I mean. Or maybe I could back up 4 times and maybe there's an earthquake and my whole house is destroyed or whatever. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, stuff happens. So I think it's important to kind of think these transactions through. And, you don't want to be screwing people over out of their money, even if you think, oh, it's only $5 a person or whatever. It's still, that's not. It's the thought, the idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I don't know. I guess you kind of enter into like an unofficial contract, at least in terms of like the expectations that the consumer has when they buy something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. One of these days it'll happen. I guess people will deal with it when it comes.
That's true. That's true.
Do you have any news in particular? Been a really slow year for video game news so far.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been more excited about movies this year than video games for the most part. But
big movie year. Yeah.
We've got, well, to coincide with the Men in Black film, which has been receiving rave reviews. You got the video game Men in Black Alien Crisis coming out.
Right. $60 if you want to go pick that up in a GameStop or EB Games near you.
A great value, you know. Any Will Smith I can get, I'll take.
It doesn't actually have Will Smith in the game.
Well, then that's
you know what's funny about Men in Black Alien Crisis is that it's basically like a light gun game, like a Time Crisis or something, that they have ported to consoles and I think PC, but I can't remember if there's going to be a PC version. So it's like a light gun game where like you're not in control of your player's movement, you're only in control of their aiming.
Yeah, there's not a PC version. There's a 3DS version though.
Of course, that's a good idea.
I'm
going to go out on a limb and say the 3DS version is probably not $60, but I'm going to go further out on a limb and probably say that you probably shouldn't buy that game at any price unless you're just getting it to laugh at it.
Or blow it up.
Yeah, maybe if you want to blow it up, that's cool too.
Put it in the microwave. That's for good. Actually, don't.
That's a good way to lose your microwave.
Yeah, that's a good way to maybe get yourself killed. I don't know what.
If not now, then maybe like 30 years down the line after you inhale the fumes.
Radiation, gamma. Maybe you'll turn into the Hulk. Who knows?
What else? Okay, let's talk about new releases, I guess.
Yeah. We're looking. Have you checked out Max Payne on the console yet? It's coming out for PC on. That's Friday, so
June 1st. Yeah,
June 1st.
I would love to play some Max Payne 3 because I'm not really that interested in the Max Payne franchise anymore. But what the fuck else am I gonna play, right? Like,
yeah, and
there's nothing out there.
There's other than like a lot of kind of sequels, DLC,
Diablo,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Diablo was. I mean, we've got in a few more weeks Mario Power Tennis for Wii.
Well, like what has come out this week? I'm just looking at Steam right now. Okay, so we got Field Runners, which I talked about a little bit. Tower Defense, whatever. Probably don't buy it on the PC. If you're gonna buy it on your iOS or something.
Yep.
Ticket to Ride, cool enough.
Awesome game, thumbs up.
Yeah, if you're into that sort of stuff, definitely pick that up. Iron Front Liberation 1944. Quick, Mike, tell me everything you know about Iron Front Liberation 1944.
It has something to do with a war.
Yep. You are correct.
And guns.
I'm going to guess that you're probably right there. It is an action strategy simulation game about the Red Army preparing to deal the killing blow to the Wehrmacht at the end of World War II.
Wow, these games are just war games getting more and more specific. Like, they used to be like the whole war. Now it seems like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, just like a single front or a single battle.
Basically a game I'm probably not going to pick up.
Agreed. It's $30. Which always makes me a little bit wary. And this might be a little bit unfair, but the fact that it deals with the Eastern Front, like the Russian-German front in the Second World War, makes me think that this is probably made by an Eastern European developer.
Yep.
And I've had a lot of bad experiences with strategy games made by Eastern European developers. Like, what the hell was that game called? I think it was called like Men of Honor, but
Valor?
That's like maybe Men of Valor, Condemned Heroes. Which again was from like a Russian developer about the Eastern Front of the Second World War, and that game was broken. Like that was garbage top to bottom. So maybe that's an unfair kind of stereotype I'm putting on this game, but I've heard nothing about it. It costs $30.
It's
reserve judgment, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's hard for me to lay down $30 on something that's.
It's a gamble.
Yeah,
that's for damn sure.
It's a gamble. So I don't know, but other than that, I mean like. There's not a lot of, big AAA titles or even anything worth noting coming out in the next few weeks. It's kind of sad.
Conflict Desert Storm came out on Steam yesterday.
Oh, really? Wait, didn't that come out, 30 years ago?
Yeah, literally 10 years ago. This was like a PS2, GameCube, original Xbox release.
Yep.
And I don't think was particularly liked when it came out.
No,
I think it was one of those games where most people thought it was pretty shitty, but there were like a few people who said, like, this isn't that shitty. Not like it's great, but it's not as shitty as people are saying it is. So if you want to experience that mediocrity for yourself 10 years later, you can pick that up on Steam for $10, you know?
Now they're bringing stuff back for nostalgia's sake, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes dead is better.
Well, although there's a game that came out on Steam that had me giddy like a schoolgirl. This is back in...
Was it a dating sim?
Oh, yeah. No, Thief Gold.
Oh, yeah. Those came out this week.
Yeah, I've been contemplating doing some videos on it just because it is, for me, a nostalgic kind of game. And I bought it, and nice. I've been playing it, and I like it. You know, it's pretty ahead of its time, and I'm kind of getting ready for Thief 4, which was announced back
I didn't know that. That's cool.
in 2009. I was doing some reading the other night, but there's no actual release date, so I thought, hey, I'll check out Thief, but it controls really shitty for some reason. Like the way they have it all set up on the keyboard, it's pretty difficult.
Well, Thief 1 must have come out in like 1999,
98,
2000, 98. Goddamn.
Yeah. But you know, despite that, it's a good game because back then there weren't a lot of those kind of spy, keep to the shadow sort of games having. Yeah, you know, and there's a lot of different ways where you can do these missions and stuff like that. So if you like those kind of games, maybe go check that out. It's old as shit, but
it's cheap too.
Yeah, it's cheap.
Thief Gold, $10. Thief 2: The Metal Age, $10.
Yep. And so yeah, that's. I mean, you might want to check those out before Thief 4 comes out. Apparently that's going to be
eventually.
Eventually. It's been several years in the works, but they're saying it's going to be pretty decent stuff. So fingers crossed, because I would love to have another kind of what do you call those? I don't even know what you call that guy that type of game, but
stealth action.
Stealth. Yeah. That's the word. I have a love-hate thing with stealth games, but when they're done right, they're fun. I
agree. I really enjoyed Thief when I played it way back in the day.
Yep.
I never played Thief 2, but I kind of heard that was like the perfection of that formula from the first game.
Yeah, I kind of got into that as well, but my brother owned that copy, and he had this thing where if I was in the room, he hated me, and he just like wouldn't let me play it. So I didn't really get to play Thief 2 as much as I got to play Thief. So I'm probably gonna check out both of those just to rekindle some long lost memories. But
Stop the presses. Mad Riders has come out on Steam today.
Mad Riders.
Okay. Feel the heart... This is all in caps, by the way. Feel the heart-pounding thrill of extreme off-road racing competition. Perform aerial stunts, use your boost wisely, and open shortcuts to dominate your friends on 45 tracks in stunning tropical locations across the globe. Well, it doesn't really seem like it's across the globe if they're all tropical, but...
Yeah, that's... How many... There's like one... What is it? Latitude? Longitude?
I'm not here to discuss geography with you.
Basically, you're right, though. Friggin'... I want to ride in the Arctic.
So, there's Mad Riders. $10 on Steam. I know literally nothing about it except for the fact that the press release for it makes me feel bad because it's got all caps in it. Heart-pounding thrill of extreme off-road racing competition sounds like basically every arcade racing game in history.
Yep. It's just, I don't know, people strutting their stuff with their new technical know-how, hickey-do, trying to put out games there, but not very original.
So those are this week's new releases. Oh, Dirt Showdown came out.
Oh, yes, yeah. So that's...
It looks kind of cool.
I kind of thought I might like to check that one out. That's on PC.
PC. I'm sure it's retail for all consoles, probably.
Yeah, unless they must have different releases. Oh yeah, it's coming out in a few. So PC is May 21st, 27th week, and then down in June 11th to 17th, it's coming out for PS3 and 360. So
as I understand it, like the Dirt Showdown is going to be more about like the arcade like trick style of rally racing. Like I've forgotten what it's called now, but like where you do like an obstacle course when you're driving and try to do like cool spins and stuff.
Interesting.
And, they're coming out with another, like, this is a spin-off of the Dirt series, so they're still going to be coming out with, like, a Dirt 4 that is going to be more racing.
Okay, so they kind of got going back, but because there's a lot of people who like arcadey stuff, and a lot of people like sim stuff. Some like both. I can go for either personally. So
I'm not going to throw down $50 for it, but I feel like if you're into that sort of thing, that's probably good. I mean, I think it's Codemasters that make that. They got a good track record with the Dirt franchise.
Yeah, sure. I'll take your word for it.
And I don't know. Did I miss any new releases?
What about Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier?
Played a little bit of the multiplayer beta of that. Got yelled at for sucking by some 12-year-olds on Xbox Live.
Well, they know these things.
Yeah, seems like a modern first-person shooter. That's all I got to say about that, really.
Yeah, I honestly haven't kept track of a Ghost Recon game since ever.
I heard, the reviews say it's okay so far. It's got like an average of 80 or something, which is solid, but I mean, it's kind of unremarkable.
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of blends into me. It's just never really struck a chord. So
yeah, agreed.
Good. So yeah, that seems to be pretty much all the big news. Well, Brave is coming out in a few weeks.
The movie?
Well, the game based on the movie.
Oh, I'm gonna go out on a limb again. I'm gonna say that Brave the movie is gonna be pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say Brave the game, not so much probably.
Probably awful, actually.
Yeah. Although apparently the Cars 2 game was actually, and it sounds crazy to hear this coming out of my mouth, but apparently Cars 2 was okay.
The movie?
The game.
Okay, because like that's people say like Cars was the one downward spike in all of Pixar films, or was it Cars 2? I don't know. So maybe the game was better than the movie.
I guess the only other thing that we got to talk about, I mean, we're not industry insiders or something, so our opinion on this is basically worthless, but E3 is next week.
E3, yeah, so do you have anything you think that will be announced or should be announced? I mean, it's getting to that point where Nintendo, obviously, we know that they've announced or shown some plans for their console. That's
which comes out later this year.
I thought no.
Yeah, so they say holiday 2012 for Wii U. It's gonna be crazy.
It is 2012. Oh wow, jeez Louise, time flying. Well, when did the Wii came out? That was back in 2006. Yep. Yeah. Right, side by side with the PS3.
Correct.
So,
yes.
I guess 6 years. That's a pretty good run.
Yeah, the 360 is going to be 7 years old this October, I think, or November.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you think anything will ever surpass the longevity of the PlayStation 2? I don't think we're gonna.
Well, PlayStation 2 came out like 2001.
Yep.
And then PS3 came out 2007. At least like North American releases.
Although there was some big overlap, they were still making PS2 games like 2 and 3 years after the PS3 release. So,
in terms of like sales, probably not. Like, I don't know. I'm not qualified to make a statement on that.
Okay, well,
but I will say I really hope that there is a new hardware announcement. I think we're getting to that point in the cycle where like when I play stuff on the PC now, it blows the console versions like out of the water. I mean, it's almost always better on the PC regardless, but there is like a vast difference. Like I took a look at some gameplay for The Witcher 2 on the PC, and it is like miles ahead of the Xbox version. And the Xbox version looks really good for a 360 game. So it's not like it's blowing some like shitty, single A title out of the water here. Well, I think it's time for new consoles, but I'm not sure how dedicated Microsoft is to the gaming end of things anymore. I think they're more trying to make like media centers that also have like this gaming component.
Well, that's kind of the big ticket item in question. Even recently, people have been asking like Apple. Obviously, they're unintentionally almost got into the gaming industry, and people ask them, what are you guys going to do with gaming? Are you going to move towards console gaming and stuff like that? I mean, they certainly have the money to get into that kind of stuff. They have the user base and stuff like that, but they're kind of like, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Apple TV, but it's basically like a mini computer, and with the way Apple has all their app stores and set up, it'd be pretty easy for them to say, oh yeah, you can buy apps on your or even games right on your Apple TV. I mean, it's connected right to your TV. Other people have the rumors that Apple's actually going to make a TV with this kind of built-in computer stuff.
Oh yeah.
All internet-based, and that it's a big deal for gaming, and so that's kind of got to be something in the back of the minds for people, or Microsoft and Sony, is like, how much longer are consoles going to be around? Are they going to get caked into, you've got on live and all these things, cloud computing and whatnot, so you're just going to have a connection to the internet with your TV? Like, what's going to go on? And another big question is, are we going to see, do you think, optical drives in some of these next consoles still? They're going to hold off for one more generation, or?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that works, because like right now, I much prefer to download stuff. Like downloading like a 10 gigabyte game doesn't really faze me. I'm fine with that. I'll go do something else for like an hour while that downloads.
Yep.
But I'm not sure like what percentage of like Canada and the United States, and I guess like worldwide, because obviously it's a worldwide industry, like don't have the kind of internet infrastructure or have like ridiculous bandwidth caps where that can't happen. And it's actually cheaper for them to like go to the store and buy a physical copy. I'd be surprised to see them move to like a straight no optical drive, like only downloadable model for the next generation. If only because like that would ruin backwards compatibility for the stuff that you already own, which has kind of become like a major selling point for these consoles. Especially if you've got like a huge library for 360 or PS3 built up over the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's tricky. I imagine it's a struggle for people making consoles in general. Where do you draw the line? When do you? I mean, I don't think we're quite there infrastructure-wise for. Well, I mean, we are for some places, we aren't for others. So it's hard to say. Do you maybe just every game they have a hard and soft releases for this next generation? Maybe that's the best way to go. Is that cost effective? Maybe not, but it's gonna make people happier in general.
I'll tell you what I would like to see most at E3 is kind of cosmetic, but I would love Nintendo to change the name of their next console to something that isn't Wii U.
Wii U, Wii U, Wii U.
And it just kind of like, if the console ends up sucking, the headlines just write themselves. Like, Wii U, more like PU, because this console stinks.
It's pretty bad. And another thing people have concern over is that, I mean, you've seen the new remote they have for that thing, right? It's like a computer in itself. And, are you going to... Isn't there, only one allowed per console or something like that?
I don't know. I think that would be crazy if they only allowed one controller per console. But
it's a sticky situation because the goddamn thing is so expensive.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want my little cousins fondling it. It's like
getting their greasy fingerprints all over that touchscreen.
That Cheeto cheese doesn't come off easy. That shit stains. Like, I don't know. It's just I respect Nintendo and stuff like that, but they gotta watch out because they can't just, that's the thing that happens with all businesses in general. They kind of get comfortable and they think they've made it, right? Shit happened to MySpace. They're like, oh yeah, everybody loves MySpace. Facebook comes along and they take over, and but Facebook isn't. They're not just sitting still. Like every friggin' week, they're updating and adding new features and buying new companies and stuff like that. And so I think Nintendo needs to kind of realize, like, you can't just keep making Pokemon games. Like, yeah, each one sells the last, but that's not going to last forever. And I think, they need to be on their toes a little more. So,
like, the thing that I feel with Nintendo, like, I am not... I've never been less excited in my life for Nintendo.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Like right now, the Wii, I think general consensus, everyone agrees that the Wii is like, I'm not going to say the console itself is garbage, but like the software library is almost indisputably garbage.
Pretty damn diluted.
So what it is right now is basically like, okay, we have this console that's got motion controls. That's not novel anymore in 2012. So there's going to be, hundreds of games every year that you don't care about, and Nintendo is going to release 1 or 2 first-party games that are going to be truly great. But is that really enough to get excited about? Like last year they had what? They had Skyward Sword, right? Like Skyward Sword looked awesome by all accounts. It was awesome. It got great reviews, but it's not enough to make me like go to the store and pick up a Wii no matter how cheap it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not excited about anything on that console that Nintendo is not doing. And the same thing is like permeating my opinion of the Wii U right now. It's like looking at it, I'm like, okay, it's got all this stuff built for like people who are not really into gaming that much. This is like, oh cool, it's got a touchscreen. Isn't that so gimmicky? That's awesome. So for me right now, it's like, do I want to buy this console knowing that maybe the same thing is going to happen to the Wii U that happened to the Wii, where there's going to be like this 6-month period of excitement followed by 5.5 years where the only people making good games for the Wii is Nintendo themselves, and they make like 2 games a year tops.
Yeah, I got fooled by that. I remember Wii came out and it was like everybody's like, yeah, it's a revolution. Like gaming is going up. You know, we're progressing forward.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
you know, I got one. I was like, oh, this is great. I played a couple games and I was like, well, forget that. And it's been sitting in a Tupperware container in my parents' basement for the past couple years.
Yeah. Like we used to play back when I was in university. We used to play Super Smash Brothers Brawl on it.
Yep.
And that was it, basically. It was that and virtual console games that we paid through the nose for.
Yeah, that's, you know, remakes of 20-year-old games.
Exactly. So I kind of feel like that shit's going to happen again with Nintendo, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
I wish almost that they would just get out of the console market and start putting their shit on other platforms.
They can go back to making playing cards.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Nintendo playing cards. Beats Bicycle. Bicycle with their day one DLC content, forcing you to buy the deck of cards. You only get 50 cards with it. You got to buy the other 2 from the online store.
Shit's crazy.
But anyway, yeah, I think that's basically it for episode 1 here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much else to add.
Yeah, basically jack shit is happening in the world of gaming right now.
But well, you know, maybe next week. Hey, it's a new week.
Hey, there's always stuff that comes out that surprises you, right? Like nothing this week. Maybe Ticket to Ride surprised us this week. That was a lot of fun.
You know, should we do a, you know, call out for, you know, people I guess can make comments and stuff and say stuff, ask things? I don't know. Do we want any sort of feedback? How are we going to work this? And
Yeah, you can, if you're familiar with the YouTube layout, it allows you to leave comments.
Well, I get that. I'm just saying, is there anything in particular we want people asking us or commenting on? Or just, you know, you can shoot the shit in the comments, I guess.
Yeah, shoot the shit in the comments.
All right, we'll be there. I'll be there anyways.
If you're asking me specific questions, I'm probably not going to answer you, but if you're asking Mike specific questions, he'll probably be there to field your questions.
I'm a pretty good guy. I like to, you know, I like to hang with my peeps sometimes, so
he does like to hang with his peeps.
Yeah, you're all my homeboys and homegirls.
You can't say that on air.
I just did. Sue me, FAA or F. What is it?
Yeah, Federal Aviation Administration.
Yeah, go fuck yourselves. I ain't playing any more Microsoft Flight Simulator. Screw it.
And that's episode 1, so we will hopefully see you guys if all goes well around this time next week. Let us know, you know, as always, this is my, you know, on bended knee plea. If you enjoy this series so far, show it some support in its infancy.
Please.
As always, we will see you guys next time.
Have fun. Bye.